there was this plane crash that happened. This was kind of shocking to see. Not good? Yeah, it's not good.
Have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities.
That's not who I'd want. I'll tell you that. That's not who I'd want.
That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them. They can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, Federal Aviation Administration. This was before I got to office recently.
I think a lot of times people try to figure out and like put the pieces together to explain why things like this happen. But people fumble in the Super Bowl and mistakes happen. I don't know that you can say necessarily that the people that were in charge of this were hired or put in that position because of diversity or like some DEI initiative. Now, if you found out that they were, then yeah, I mean, it's possible that that could be a factor for sure. But other than that, no, I feel like people sometimes just make mistakes. Things just happen, right? You're spreading heavy, dangerous misinformation by watching the president speak? What are you, fucking retarded? What the fuck are you saying? I'm watching the president talk to the media. Shut up. How is this not a reasonable take? Like I said, I don't think this is the reason why it happened. That seems pretty crazy. But maybe it is. I don't know. They'd have to look into it and see. But the spitting to, I'm saying the truth. That's right. They had to shut me down for speaking the truth. That is a fucking fact. Absolutely. And yeah, anyway, that one guy you got arguing with got temp banned. Fuck him. That's what he gets. And anyway, we'll go back and we'll look at this again. I apologize. I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, obviously had a bunch of little bit of a hiccup there. And so anyway, we'll watch the rest of it. Yeah, I did not get assassinated, I'm sorry to say. And let's take a look.
This was before I got to office recently, second term.
Right.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's
I think that if you're doing like I said it before, I don't think this probably not because of DEI, right? But like I think especially whenever you're dealing in things that like like it's one thing to have like a DEI initiative for like a writer for a video game, and it's another thing to have a DEI initiative for like you know, organizing how planes land at an airport, right? Like one of them is just like way more important. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that they should have any initiatives for stuff like that. I mean, like that's just super serious shit.
guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his
Mayor Pete, I
city
remember
into
him.
the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it. 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Well, I think that really is kind of like not. So that's the reporter lost his wife. I don't know about that. That's some other shit. Let's see here. It must be DEI pilots. A Black Hawk plane casually running into an American flight captures the footage. A military helicopter collides with an American Airlines jet.
Questionnaire whose purpose was not hiring skilled controllers. In fact, the more skills you had, the fewer points you got, perversely. But instead, the point was ensuring the hiring of people who were of the right race.
So this is something from like a while ago. It's super old. Yeah, I know, but it paints a picture. So this is the truth. I think that mistakes like this just fucking happen. I don't think that this is necessarily some sort of outcome of DEI. I don't think there's enough evidence to come to that conclusion. You'd have to look into it. Now, if we find out that the person was hired, I don't want to watch it. If we find out the person was hired through an initiative like that and they made a mistake, then yeah, I think it's open for conversation. But to just like open up and say like, basically you're going from like point A to point Z and saying like, okay, well, because this happened, then every bad thing that happens is an outcome of this thing. That's not true. The fact is that you have mistakes happen all the time. It's military fault. Yeah, exactly. It's straw manning. I think so. And that's the way I see it, at least, right? Yeah, you're taking shots in the dark. It's like a conspiracy theory like level of like thinking. That's what I would say. It's weird to already bring up DEI. Yeah, I think so too. And yes, we need to know who was at fault. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really not that complicated. It's probably pilot error. Well, what Trump said, and whether this is true or not is up for debate. We're not sure. But what he said was that the plane was actually doing the right thing. So my understanding, I mean, the air traffic control, I feel like they're mainly about managing the airplanes and not managing a military helicopter. Are military helicopters managed by the FAA? I would assume they're not, but like, I don't know. They are. Okay, they are. I didn't know that. Okay, in the airspace. Okay, so they're all managed by the same thing. Okay, so it still is possible that it could have been their fault there as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. They have to for safety? No, after you explain it that way, it makes sense. Of course that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, so I feel like a lot of times people like to politicize a lot of tragedies, and everybody wants to, like, this is something I noticed a lot with like my mom, and I think that a lot of people do with like conspiracy theories, is that there are a lot of people who don't like the fact of the ambiguity of life. The ambiguity of people sometimes just make mistakes and people sometimes just make bad decisions. There's not an evil cabal behind it. It's not Jewish lizards that live in the middle of the earth. It's not Hitler that's living under the ice in Antarctica. It's just people fucking up, making mistakes, and shit happens. And I think that that's probably what this is. Shit happens. And I don't think it's fair to say that it's DEI at this point, right? It's just way too early. Yeah, when all you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail. Yep, there you go. Pull me up. I'm a qualified air traffic controller. I can answer questions. Well, like, what I'm saying is that, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in general, it's just like, fuck, my dad's calling me. Give me a minute. Hello? Hey, let me put you on speaker.
Okay, the pilot of the helicopter did not hear the warning from the air traffic controller because they weren't communicating. And that apparently seems to have been an issue with the helicopter pilot not tuning into the local air controller.
Yeah.
He was still being probably, I guess, controlled by his military, because there's a military base right there.
Uh-huh.
By people in and out all the time, dignitaries and all.
Yeah, sure.
And meanwhile, that airport right there is the busiest airport in the United States.
Yeah.
So they've got a plane. They land several hundred planes there a day, a couple hundred planes there a day.
Right.
A fuck up like this is bound to happen between military and civilian because they don't have an automatic or I guess they have a procedure, but he didn't follow it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that point, but that's what the issue is.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, thanks. I'll
By the way, on the restructuring.
Yeah.
Restructuring is not only firing, it's putting all the work of the people who get fired
Yeah.
on the people who still are there.
Yeah, well,
that's part of restructure.
Yeah.
I've been through, where they
I know.
100 people and there were 21 of us left.
Yeah.
I've been through some bad cuts.
Okay.
And I know restructuring.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All righty, yo.
All right, yo, bye.
Yo, bye-bye.
Well, there it is, right? I mean, fuck-ups happened. That's it. Yeah, that's what I think, too. And helicopter pilot must have been a quick little A to B, no biggie. Mistakes happen, man. And it's literally that fucking simple, man. I can't believe how fast they wanted to scapegoat DEI for this. Yeah, but I bet other people are going to blame Trump. Like, the thing is that... And, well, this is the point that I was trying to get at. It actually reminded me what I was going to say. I forgot what I was saying before you said that, so thank you. People want to have an explanation for everything. That's religion, really. I think that's the reason why we have religion. Big picture idea, maybe a little bit euphoric, enlightened atheist idea, but that's what I think. And so, anyway... Anytime that any sort of crazy thing happens that can't be explained, people explain it anyway. And so, even though you need to go from A to B to C to D, some people go all the way to Z because they just assume that's what happens, because they don't have all the pieces in place. And so people without complete information, or without there even being a complete, really, chain of events, are going to come to this conclusion. That's why we have science, though. Yes, definitely. And I would blame Trump for politicizing it and blaming DEI and Pete Buttigieg, but that's about it. I think that Trump shouldn't have said that. I think it was stupid. I think it was stupid and unnecessary. All it does is it politicizes an issue that really, I mean, a lot of people died from this. Is DEI and air traffic control bad? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's bad anywhere. So it's not even that he's wrong, and that's the worst part about it. It's that when you use, this is a big problem that a lot of people have, is they think that anything that their side does is good. I don't agree with that. I'm not a fan at all. Seriously? Yeah, of course, seriously. If you're hiring based off of criteria that isn't merit, you're making a bad decision. It's that simple, right? It's super fucking simple. And so there it is. Anyway, all I'm really trying to say here is that it makes DEI concerns look stupid when you blame everything on DEI. You see what I'm saying? Because now you've got everybody thinking this is everything is DEI with you. This is the same thing that happened with woke. It's the same thing that happened with Nazi. Everybody starts using these words constantly, and they're used to explain everything, and now soon people are just tired of fucking hearing about it, man. And so that's the whole point, right? Exactly. And so that's the reason why I think it's problematic to say something like that, because you damage and you devalue the cases where it is in fact true. So that's the way I see it. Somebody cornballs? Yeah. No one can prove this was a direct result of a DEI hire, so it's jumping the gun. It seems like he's deflecting it happening under his presidency. You can't call everything DEI. You can't call everything racist. Yeah. I mean, the fact is the president is not responsible for every bad thing that happens in the country. He's not. Like, it's not his fault. That's just not what happens. Sometimes mistakes happen. That's life. So, yeah. But you're calling everything woke, platforming that DEI is bad? Yeah, I think DEI is bad. I've been very outspoken about that, and I've been advocating against it, and I've been winning, by the way. If you look at some of the executive orders and what these companies are doing, we're completely winning. Like clean sweep, royal flush winning. Absolutely. So, yes, 100% I'm against it. Absolutely. But the point is that it doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about at all. Just when? Yeah, sure. And anyway, that doesn't mean that everything is DEI. And so, like, no, it's not my fault. If I say some DEI is bad, or if I say DEI is bad, that doesn't mean everything bad is because of DEI. That's broken logic. That's not how you think. So, yeah, it's very sad news. Exactly. And let me go back. How can we not assign blame to the administration who removed funds and fired people from the FAA and ground control? Your analysis is nowhere based on reality. I don't think that something that's that drastic happened within 5 days or like 1 week. I just don't think so. And also, that's again something. So now you're trying to blame Trump because he could have fired somebody who could have been supporting this. I think you bring up a good point. And in your point, I think that that's the left-wing version of the DEI thing. I think you're shooting from the hip as well, because there's a good chance that what you're saying could be true, but we don't have any evidence of that at all. So we need to wait for more information and then make a decision and see who actually fucked up here and how we can prevent this from happening again. To be fair, though, I read that the last plane crash that happened was in 2009. It's not like these happen every fucking day. These aren't dropping out of the sky. Sometimes you just have human error and tragedy happens. And I think that's what this was. It's really sad. It absolutely sucks. And I think that people are politicizing it way too much. It's a fucking tragedy. And that includes Trump. I think it's disappointing that he did that and he brought that up. I think that you're shooting too fast without knowing what the information is. So that's what I think. You said the last plane crash was when? The last commercial airline plane crash was in 2009. That's what I read. No, you think you're winning? There's Bridge Initiative. DEI is entering phase 2. That's included. Yeah, that's included in a lot of those rules. And that's assuming Trump does not have more information that he's not releasing publicly. Well, don't expect me to assume, like, if you want me to come to the same conclusion as you, but you're not providing me the evidence, you need to at least tell me that you have something that tells you that. Like, because I'm not just going to, like, say, oh, okay, well, then all right, I'm just going to believe that. If he had it, he would say it. Yeah, then show it to me. Yeah, I mean, you release the JFK files. You can show us the fucking air traffic control stuff. Yeah, let me see it. If that's what it is, then do it. 2009, last commercial aircraft was in the U.S., from what I read. That's what I read, too. And, yeah, dude's president of the United States. He knows all the evidence, but he's probably holding back. No, I don't think anybody knows all the evidence yet. I think they're probably, I mean, this happened a couple of hours ago. I mean, you have a fog of war when a big event like this happens, and, like, there's, like, a degree of, like, oh, fuck, like, what happened, right? Because you have to do a post-mortem on, like, how these things occurred, which is just logical, right? So, yeah, it's an active investigation. Yeah, they're going to figure it out. All I'm saying is that I don't think that it's fair to say that this is an outcome of Trump cuts or it's an outcome of DEI at this point. I think both of them are just completely partisan ways of talking about it in order to just score points for your side. And I think they're just, I wouldn't say disgusting. They're stupid. They're stupid and petty. And the fact is, a lot of people died by this. And I think that should be more of the focus instead. So, yeah, there it is. And it's disappointing, you know, our president would say that. It's silly, especially with such little evidence. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, in a lot of ways, like, I'll be totally honest, I've actually completely supported Trump in most things that he's done so far. I've been a major advocate. I think that he's made a lot of really, really good decisions. This isn't one of them.